Family, good morning. It is Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. It is Monday. It is November 17th. We are going to be positive on this show. And if you wanted a negative podcast, you're not going to get it. You don't want to start off your day like that. I promise you. You want to stay in positive land. And you want to understand that there is still a lot of football left to be played. That is what we are going to talk about this morning on Wake Up Bama. I understand that Alabama lost. We are going to flush that. We should have flushed it Sunday, and we turned the page to the next opponent, which is Eastern Illinois. Before we start, I came up with a new college football creed for you, okay? So let's say this together. I understand that my team will get punched in the mouth. I understand that my team will deliver blows. I accept that all teams in the SEC might be created equal. Turnovers will kill you. So will missed field goals. I am committed to living a one-game season. This is not 2013 when Saban gave everybody BTA. This is 2025. Shit is crazy. We ride, win or lose, and roll tide. Yo, that is the college football creed. We might have to say that for a while, and we might have to kind of reiterate that as we go. Remember what happened the last time Alabama lost to Florida State, right? They went on an 8-game tear. They responded with a negative with 8 positives. They can finish out this season right now winning 10 games. You beat Eastern Illinois, the next team up, and then you focus on beating Auburn at the Haunted Barn, okay? You win that game, there's a very high probability that you go to the SEC title game. A lot of people have asked me, well, what happens to Ole Miss? That's a good question, and I get it. There's a lot of questions about tiebreakers because Georgia should finish 7-1 in conference play, or they did. Alabama, if they beat Auburn, they would finish 7-1 in SEC play. And if Ole Miss wins their last game in conference, they would finish 7-1. Well, who plays in the SEC title game if Texas A&M beats Texas? Well, it comes down to common opponents, and Alabama beat Georgia head-to-head, and the common opponent for Ole Miss and Alabama is Georgia. Alabama has the head-to-head, and Georgia beat Ole Miss. That's how it works. Alabama, I know. I think some people are like, well, what about Oklahoma, and what about Vanderbilt, and well, those teams lost multiple games. Alabama dropped 1 game so far in conference play. That is why Alabama, their hopes to still play in the SEC title game still exist, okay? So I wanted to start out by giving some game balls against Oklahoma. There's not a lot of game balls. In fact, I could really only come up with one individual player on the offensive side. I thought about giving maybe a few guys, but at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I need to honor Josh Cuevas. He finished out with 6 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. Do you feel inside the comment box that is a good game ball? I feel that Josh Cuevas has turned into a weapon for Alabama. He's not a serviceable tight end. He is an absolute weapon. He caught a 25-yard touchdown pass. The kid was a transfer portal guy, came over here, followed Coach Kalen DeBoer, and I thought he has done an amazing job this season. He's a lot better than a lot of the tight ends that we've had in the past. I'd probably have him up there with Irv Smith in terms of the guys that I covered. I did not cover O.J. Howard. He left right as I got here, something like that. But I do feel that Josh Cuevas is certainly a weapon. So 6 catches, 80 yards. Thought the kid absolutely balled out, very dependable. On the defense, I'm going to give the entire defense a game ball. I really am. I couldn't think of one particular player that was kind of shining. I think it was a defensive collective effort. And I have the defense at 3 of 13 on third down conversions, which is outstanding. And I have the defense holding Oklahoma to 212 yards. And really, Oklahoma scored 23 points. And if you think about it, Alabama gave up 17 on turnovers. So really, the defense really give up just 6 true points, which are really field goals. And look, I get it. There was that 20-yard run by John Mateer. Well, the defense was already back there, man. How many times do you expect them to come up with stops? All right, so my game ball is Josh Cuevas and the defense. I was looking at this number talking about Tai Simpson. And if you're just getting going, I hope that you're off to a good start. This is going to be a good week. I promise you. Things are going to go your way. Thanksgiving is in sight, and I know the haunted barn is way out there, but focus on this next game against Eastern Illinois, okay? Talking Tai Simpson, who, by the way, doesn't even have Heisman odds anymore following that loss against Oklahoma. But I was looking at the Pro Football Focus grades, and I saw when he's kept clean, he has a grade of 91.2 when he's kept clean. But his grade drops significantly when he's under pressure. His grade under pressure is 49.8. And when he's blitzed, it's 69.5. So, look, if you were playing Alabama, and that's why I've been asking, has he regressed? I don't think he's regressed. I think that teams have just figured out, look, let's bring the absolute house on Alabama. They struggle with the absolute deep ball because of pressure, and the right side of the offensive line will collapse, or one of their running backs will miss a block, and we can get to Tai. Plain and simple. And compounded onto that, Ty's been known to fumble. He's fumbled, 5 times in the last 5 games. And on top of that, he hasn't been getting rid of the ball quick enough. So pressure is going to eat up Alabama. It's almost one of their Achilles heels. So, again, 91.2 when kept clean, but a grade of 49.8 when under pressure. And 69.5 when blitzed. So, again, you go into that back game, I already tell you what DJ Durkin's going to do for Auburn. He's going to bring the absolute house 1,000,000%. But I was also thinking about this. Now, I get it. As I mentioned, this next award, people are going to be like, it doesn't matter. The Heisman Trophy doesn't matter. All this stuff. Team awards. Yeah, I agree. But at the same point, I'm like, man, let's make sure that we honor the right players that have done a great job collectively that should be highlighted for one of the most coveted awards at the end of the season, right? And that's against teams that are playing against high-caliber competition. Let's not forget that Tai Simpson has 22 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Yes, that interception that he threw, yeah, it was terrible, right? It was, I don't know, fatal, if you want to call it. 87-yard pick 6, yeah. But collectively, 22 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's still a better touchdown-to-interception ratio than Fernando Mendoza, than Julian Sain, right? Who, by the way, Fernando Mendoza now plus 100 to win the Heisman. Julian Sain plus 200 to win the Heisman. But think about this. Who did Ohio State play this past weekend? UCLA. Who did Fernando Mendoza play? He played Wisconsin, okay? Matter of fact, Alabama, Ohio State, and Indiana have a common opponent this year. Did you know that? It's Wisconsin, all right? Look at how each quarterback did against Wisconsin, all right? Start with Julian Sain. Against Wisconsin, 36-42, 393 yards and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Fernando Mendoza, just on Saturday, 22-24, 299 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Damn, those guys are outstanding. Those are the guys that should be standing at the podium for the Heisman. Well, what about Tai Simpson? Against Wisconsin, 24-29, 382 yards and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. They're pretty much identical stats. Now, how would those guys fare against top 25 defenses that Alabama has been seeing? How would they fare against Oklahoma this past Saturday? I promise you they wouldn't have shining numbers, okay? Because that is NFL light. Those defenses were absolutely coming and are polished defenses. By the way, R. Mason Thomas, the best player in Oklahoma, didn't even play. That is how good Oklahoma's defense is. And Tai still threw for 326 and a touchdown, okay? So Tai Simpson no longer on the board for the Heisman. I know it's a kind of a rat poison award or whatever, but still, I just kind of sleep on that fact. 22 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's a damn good season, right? He still can do absolute more damage. He could rack up 30 touchdowns by the next couple games, right? All right, odds to win the national championship. Ohio State plus 185, Indiana plus 500. Surprisingly, Texas A&M at plus 800 and Notre Dame at plus 900. Really? Texas A&M and Notre Dame? I'm going to get to those guys in just a second because I've been asking, and I fully understand that A&M is undefeated and they came from behind in dramatic fashion to beat South Carolina. But do we have a fraud alert? I'll get back to that in just a second, all right? I think we have to look at Texas A&M and who they've played this year, right? They have a 1-point win over Notre Dame, right? And then in SEC play, they literally played the lower half of all the teams in the SEC play. I'm talking about Texas A&M being a fraud alert. Do you agree? Yes or no? Or do you think this is like a damn good team? Okay. They beat Auburn. These are the teams that they played in the SEC. Okay. There's a lot of good ones, right? They played Auburn. Is that a top team? They played Mississippi State. Is that a top team? They played Florida. Is that a top team? They played Arkansas. Is that a top team? LSU, Missouri, and South Carolina. I don't know if that's the most challenging SEC schedule. Plus, Alabama beat South Carolina, right? They had to come from behind and win that game. But they weren't getting beat 30-3 at halftime. I'll tell you one team from the SEC that looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm telling you. I might even have this team ranked number 3 right now. Maybe number 2, Georgia. Oof, man. You seen what Georgia did to Texas? That was nasty. They could have done whatever they wanted against the Texas Longhorns. And I'll tell you what, I have been hard on this kid, and I have criticized him early on in the season. Gunnar Stockton, their quarterback. Yo, that guy is on an absolute tear. In the last 4 games against Ole Miss, Florida, Mississippi State, and Texas, 13 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, okay? Threw 4 touchdowns against the Longhorns. The guy is playing at a very good level. He's got some wide receivers. Zachariah Branch is one of them. Yo, Georgia looks really, really good. The crazy thing is the team who beat Georgia is Alabama. And I still feel that was Alabama's most complete game was beating the Georgia Bulldogs way back in September. Do you agree? I do have Ole Miss ranked higher than Oregon. Do you agree with that as well? I just feel that Lane Kiffin and what they've been able to do this year, I mean, shoot, they beat Oklahoma, right? That's why a lot of people are like, well, shouldn't they be in the SEC championship? Well, I mean, yeah, maybe. But the rules are it goes off common opponents, and they lost to Georgia. Bama beat Georgia. So Lane Kiffin has a really good team. That quarterback, I think, is going to be a nightmare for anybody that plays him. They got a really good running back, and I think Lane Kiffin, you can slowly he's such a great showman of like trolling, but also kind of flexing and also being kind of like modest. I don't know if modest and Lane Kiffin go together, but you get what I'm saying. I think he knows that they have a really, really good football team. So they probably end 11-1, and they'll be hosting a home playoff game. And I think they're going to be very, very dangerous for anybody who matches up with them. The committee loves Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a one-loss team. They lost to Arizona State when their quarterback was out. They recently beat BYU. This past week, they beat Central Florida. I would imagine that Texas Tech wins the Big 12 handedly, and they beat BYU, and this is another team that hosts a playoff game in Lubbock, okay? I've been asking questions about Texas Tech. You guys love their defense. A lot of people very high on Texas Tech, including Coach Saban himself. Oklahoma moves up ahead of Alabama and ahead of Notre Dame. It's a very good defense, but I really wasn't impressed with their offense. I really wasn't. Were you guys? I know Alabama's defense is playing outstanding right now, but, man, I was like, all right, John Mateer, this is going to be a guy. This is going to be like one of the best quarterback in the SEC. I thought Alabama's defense made him look mid. And I thought he did have some good RPOs. In fact, I wish Alabama would run some more RPOs. But I thought, I don't know, they didn't look overly dangerous. I'm talking about Oklahoma's offense. So just kind of my take, but that defense is salty. And to think that they are that good without R. Mason Thomas is scary. So I love Brent Venables. I think he's a damn good football coach. He's not like just a defensive guy. He's a good football coach, and he's done a really good job at Oklahoma, 100%. All right, Notre Dame. They're going to finish out 10-2. They got Syracuse and they got Stanford coming up. This Jeremiah Love, if you haven't seen him at running back, he's a monster, okay? He said in the pregame before they beat Pittsburgh, a JV game, he said, look, I like to, model my game after Jahmyr Gibbs. He had some runs in that Pittsburgh game. He looked so nice, okay? So he will be playing in the NFL sooner or later. He had highlight runs. This is probably one of the best running back tandems in the entire country. I do have a problem with their schedule. I do have a problem that they don't play in a conference title game. They are 10-2. This is a team that Coach Saban really, really likes. I'm not as high on them, but after watching them against Pitt, I do have a little bit more confidence that this is a playoff-type team. But they did lose to A&M, and they did lose to Miami. And Miami probably finished out as a 2-loss team. And if I'm Miami and I've lost 2 games, I'm like, let's talk head-to-head because we beat Notre Dame head-to-head. Straight up. Those are the facts, right? All right. talking about Alabama's team identity. And again, if you're just starting your day, I appreciate you being here. I will be live today at 10 a.m. Central Time right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We will go over more in detail. We'll have more graphics. This is kind of just a nitty-gritty. The thought of the Wake Up Bama video, podcast, whatever you want to call it, is just something to get your day started. I know you might be, hitting the gym. You might be getting started for your day. You might be running around, whatever it is, but something to kind of have in your pocket, on your headphones, and hopefully the audio. That's one of the main things that I make sure is the audio is super crisp. So there's no, everything has to be of high standard for me. And I want that to be a really good experience, is just the volume. So hopefully that volume is hidden. So the team identity of Alabama, I was thinking about this. So I have a couple facts that I feel fall under the identity of this team. Number one, we understand it's a really good passing team. Yes, the interception against Oklahoma lives on our mind, but he did throw for 326 yards. He did make some good downfield contested throws to Isaiah Horton, the touchdown pass, as I mentioned, to Josh Cuevas. He hit Ryan Williams on a deep one. He hit Jeremy Bernard a couple different times. Did he miss on some? Yeah, he overthrew Jeremy Bernard. I saw Rico Scott wide open in the end zone that he missed. So was he perfect? No. But is this overall and collectively a really good passing team? For sure. And they have dynamic weapons. I saw Shannon Sharp recently on his Nightcap YouTube show saying that Ryan Williams isn't, even a top 3 wide receiver on this team. You could probably say that. I'm not mad at that. Look, Lazier Brooks, the way he's playing, good luck tackling him. And Isaiah Horton, I think, is really underrated. In fact, I'd like to see a little bit more of some schemes and some designs to go specifically to Isaiah Horton. I understand he's more of a possession-type wide receiver, but he's good. He catches the football, right? And, of course, Jeremy Bernard is like the man. So, good passing team with very, very good wide receivers. The running game is super below average. Even I do feel we took a step forward, but it's not like Daniel Hill came in and just absolutely changed things. I still feel to be 100% honest. If I'm being 100% honest with you, I feel he's a big bruising running back that has average speed and that still struggles in pass protection. I saw him give up a sack. I saw Jam give up a sack. So these running backs that Alabama has right now. Are they mid? Man, they're not playing to the highest standard, and maybe this is just kind of their talent, top-end talent. Where's Kevin Riley? Why isn't he playing? Well, these other guys are better than him. Where's Richard Young? He don't play. Well, that tells us these other guys are better than them. So, look, call it what it is. Let's be honest, all right? Do we have dynamic running backs within the running back room? I know you guys want to see A.K. Deere. You're probably going to see him against Eastern Illinois, and he probably will look good against Eastern Illinois, but you don't want to bring in a guy against a team like Oklahoma and have him lose all his self-confidence because you think that this guy, A.K. Deere, who hasn't played any SEC football, you think he's going to come in and be able to you think he's going to be able to pass protect against Oklahoma? No way in hell. That wasn't ever going to happen. And they had to protect Ty and they had to protect A.K. Deere, okay? They have a really, really, really good, probably great defense. And the way that the defense has played over the last 5-6 weeks, they've gotten better. They take steps forward. And even in that first series against Oklahoma, where Oklahoma returned that 42-yard punt, they were going to punch it in. Alabama's defense answered the bell again and allowed only 3 points. This defense, from the defensive line all the way to the secondary, they are playing big, and they tackle very well in open space. I just want to highlight that. The poor kicking game, look, as soon as I saw Connor Talty calling out the snapper, I've said that wasn't it, and I'm not the only one. I saw it go viral. Everybody with much larger platforms than mine were like, don't do that. Come on, that's not who you are. I have never seen, honestly, another Alabama player call out another player like that. It's probably been a while. I mean, I was thinking about, other examples I could think of. I can't. So Connor Talty has to be better. At the end of the day, I know it's the snapper, the holder, the kicker. At the end of the day, it's up to the kicker, in my opinion. And he is 11-16 on the season. That's not it. I will say that this team is battle-tested, probably more battle-tested than anyone else in college football. And I think that has to be a main feather in Alabama's cap, right? You get down to the playoff resume. Let's say they are a 10-3 team. If they were to lose in the SEC title game or whatever it is, plain and simple, no other team has played the gauntlet of a schedule that Alabama has, right? They've played, 5 top 25 teams. They're, 4-1 against those opponents. And they took one on the chin. They lost to an unranked Florida State. They lost to now top 10 Oklahoma team, but they also have 4 wins against top 25 teams. Still, no other team in the nation can say that. So they are 100% battle tested. As we turn the page to Eastern Illinois, this team is 3-8 on the season. And I would imagine that Louisiana Monroe would probably be Eastern Illinois. Yeah, that is the team that Alabama hung 77 on. So in terms of getting more guys going to play, and I know Coach Saban hates when you talk about that because he's like, how the hell you know these guys are going to get to play? Good point, right? Remember many, many years ago, Alabama and the Citadel were tied at it was 13-10. Remember the team that ran the triple option? Who remembers this game? It was so frustrating. So we don't know what the outcome is going to be, but kind of a rat poison talk here. You're probably going to see more opportunities. You're probably going to get A.K. Deere. You're probably going to get Keelan Russell. You're going to probably get Austin Mack, all these other players that are kind of in the 2 or the 3 deep. They're going to have a time to shine at 1 p.m. on Saturday at Bryant-Denny Stadium. So excited for that. What am I looking for in this particular game? This will be my last 5 before I dip out. You got to flush this loss. You got to 1,000,000% flush it. All right. Already Monday, I don't even remember it. I learned from it, but I don't remember it. It's like I'm done. I learned from that, but I'm moving forward. I can't live in the past. I have to live in the future, and I have to understand that the next opponent is clearly Eastern Illinois. Okay. And I'm sure they're going to be stacking on some Auburn, but you got to be able to flush it and understand what is at stake. And what is at stake is you lose to Auburn, you are absolutely done. So it is a 1-game season still. Remember our creed. We'll go over it one more time on the back end. It's the last home game. Maybe, right? Maybe Alabama hosts, depending on the playoffs or whatever. But treat it like it's your last home game, right? Leave everything out on the field every single time. 1,000,000%. Give the fans something to root for, right? Run for 400 yards, all right? I feel that getting the running game going in this game, I don't care who it's against. Sometimes it's just kind of a psyche thing. You run for 350 yards get everybody going, right? Get these guys a lot of momentum. You agree with me inside the combine? Let them lose. If it's A.K. Deere, if it's Kevin Ryan, shoot, whoever it is, if you want Caden Proctor to be your running back, let him run, right? I want a lot of rushing yards in this game. Keep the pedal and play everybody, right? You got to make everybody happy because there's guys here that have waited, that are working. Get those guys in. Make them feel a part of the team. And the last thing, and I think this is the most important, leave no doubts. Don't leave any doubts against Eastern Illinois, all right? I don't want to see Alabama up 10-0. I want to see Alabama at halftime. I want to see Alabama up 50-0 at halftime. I want this team to come out. I want Kalen DeBoer still smacking the goalpost. I want that type of intensity, and I want Alabama to absolutely drop the absolute hammer on Eastern Illinois. Go into this game like it is an absolute work. You're fighting for your life because you really are, okay? So before you go on with your day and you find me at 10 a.m. Central Time right here on Bama Football on YouTube, let's go over the college football creed one more time. I understand my team will get punched in the mouth. I understand my team will deliver blows. I accept that all teams in the SEC might be created equal. Turnovers will kill you. So will missed tackles, and so will missed field goals. I am committed to living a 1-game season. This is not 2013 when Coach Saban used to be here and give everybody BTA. This is 2015. Shit is crazy. We ride, win or lose, and we roll tide. All right? So that's your college football creed. Remember it. I'll put it inside the comment box. I love you, fam. Thanks for kicking it with me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. This is Wake Up Bama, Monday, November 17th. Catch you at 10 a.m. I love you, fam. Drop a comment inside the comment box, and I hope you enjoyed this Wake Up Bama edition, and I'll catch you soon at Bama Football on YouTube.